Well, let's get to some breaking news on Rivian. Of course, coming out with its earnings report, looks like it sees its full-year production forecast up slightly. It also met its estimates overall. And here's some interesting news as well. Rivian vans no longer subject to an Amazon exclusivity deal. Let's get some details now with Ed Ludlow. He, of course, is the co-anchor of Bloomberg Tech, joining us in New York this week. And Ed, we can get to the numbers, but let's talk about what's going on with that Amazon agreement.
Yeah.
What does this mean for Rivian?
Yeah, it's big for the company. Inside, a lot of staff have been super frustrated because they want to sell their battery electric delivery van to so many more. So what it means in the first instance is they can do just that. They're free to talk to third parties. Actually, I know from sources that they probably have been speaking to third parties outside of Amazon. You're talking about fleet operators, right? People that operate all kinds of last mile delivery services. When the deal was signed in 2019, it basically gave Amazon 2 years of genuine exclusivity from the time the first van was delivered, and then 2 rights of first refusal on everything that Rivian builds. And the van's about 25% of total production. So this frees them up, and it's what investors wanted to see too.
Okay, here's my question, though.
Sure.
Like, under the original deal, and Rivian says it still plans to honor its deal to deliver 100,000 vans to Amazon by 2030, but they're not making a whole lot of these vehicles either, right? They're only making 54,000.
So it's why it's important to pass the numbers. They have updated guidance. So this year they'll build 54,000 EVs across their 2 consumer products and the Amazon van. But to all intents and purposes, they are supply constrained. They can not meet the demand that's out there. But on paper, that facility in Normal, Illinois is capable of building much more than they're currently doing. And, I think the fact that they raised guidance isn't a surprise to anyone, really. The after hours move in this stock more likely to do with that they can now go out and plan to sell this product to others. Remember, the second part of that exclusivity, first dibs on everything that's built, that's no longer there. So as long as they meet the 100,000 by 2030, they can sell vans to others, and they can manage that process. And again, vans is 25% roughly of everything they build.
They have to scale really quickly then.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you talk about scaling, and you think about, let's talk about the forecast a little bit. I mean, 54,000 vans, it's not very much.
Yeah, so I reported earlier this year, citing sources who were in a meeting with the leadership team, that they told staff on paper this year they could probably do 62,000.
Oh.
And the market's always kind of questioned how conservative this guide is. The facility in Normal, Illinois, based on the machinery that's there, can probably build 150,000 units a year. So you can see the path forward. One thing I always forget to mention, Amazon owns almost 17% of Rivian still, and they still have the deal for 100,000 units. But, I love covering this company because there's still intense Bloomberg terminal readership interest around the world. People follow it really closely because it's kind of like actually managed to do it, whereas so many other EV upstarts have struggled.